but yet they still stood their ground. And so this is the place for it to be, and whatever you need from the Guardian Civic League, myself, and the executive board, all they have to do is ask, and we will make sure that it happens. The dues paying members sustain this organization. Not no federal grant, not no city grant, none of that. We raise the money to do whatever we need to do here. And I'll leave a pamphlet of some of the programs that we offer from this organization that your family, your children can take part of. One of the things we have here is during the summer, we have a summer enrichment program. That's from kids 7 to 12. Basically, it has like 40 slots. We focus on reading, math, and science. They go swimming, they go on trips, but we make sure that they come together and have a healthy summer. We ask nobody for money. We came about that because of how we grew up. If we wanted to go to summer camp, it cost us at least $250 a week. This program, for those who can't afford it, is $300 for the entire 6 weeks. And if those who can't, then we come up with a scholarship for that child to be into something constructive during the summer. And so we take part of a whole lot of organizations. We in the heart of North Philly, you know how gentrified it is. And so I'm a member of the No Stadium, No Deal. When they tried to build that stadium in North Philly, that group came together and said no. And so we're going to continue to fight for us in this area and for those for justice in this city. So we welcome you. We thank you for coming here, and we are a part of this, and just ask us when you need us.
Thank you.
All right.
I shot the sheriff. And I didn't. Okay. Good afternoon, my brothers. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kofi Asante, and I have the privilege of welcoming you today. And I just want to welcome you with 3 proverbs. The first being, many are called, but few are chosen. If you don't help your brother get 9, you won't get 10. And as long as you call the name, the spirit never dies. I'm going to say that again. If you don't, many are called, but few are chosen. If you don't help your brother get 9, you won't get 10. As long as you call the name, the spirit never dies. These 3 proverbs go directly to the purpose, the energy, and the spirit of the Black Male Community Council. And we are here today to make a difference in terms of our community and our families, with the realization that we are a community in crisis. We all know that. Yeah. So it's about action and not words.
That's right. That's right.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to
Gonna
it.
stick right with it. That's right.
Come right up front here. I'm so glad to see this brother. It was like, it's a beautiful thing.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So, what we'd like to be able to do now is we'd just like to be able to go around the room quickly, and if you could just stand up, introduce yourself, just give us your name, and if you represent an organization, say that, and then so we can keep it moving. All right, we'll start with this handsome brother right here.
All right.
Peace, brothers and sisters, Sister Bilal. My name is Sean Wilson, and I am the president, founder of Veterans in the Hood Incorporated, a nonprofit organization advocating on behalf of military veterans to seeking their benefits, resources, and support. And I'm also newly elected as, or appointed as the Director of Veterans Affairs for the Guardian Civic League.
Right in on time.
No, we want to be on time.
Good afternoon, assalamu alaikum. My name is Zachariah Abdul Rahman. I'm founder and president of Z&Z Distributors. It's the only African American wholesale distributorship in Philadelphia and the Delaware Valley. You may know of us, of our products, some of our products, Homeboys and Homegirls, Rap Snacks, Potato Chips. I'm also the founder and president and CEO of Nicetown Community Development Corporation. That's a corporation for economic development within the northwest section of the city of Philadelphia in Nicetown. My brother here is one of our anchors with his program at Huntington Park and Jumptown Avenue. And if you look at that area, we've concentrated on that area for over how many years?
20 plus.
15 plus, 17 plus. Yeah. And we've brought over $500 million worth of development in terms of impact to that area. So it just goes to show you what organization can do, and long-term commitment, and you know, just stick-to-itness can do as a collective.
Peace, brothers. I'm Bill Champagne. I'm with the City of Philadelphia Health Department, and I work in a division that works on infant mortality in the African American community. We work in 10 specific zip codes that have the highest rates of infant mortality. Most of them are concentrated in North Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, and Southwest Philadelphia. I'm what's called the Men's Support Service Coordinator. So my job is to get brothers to understand the role that they play in mitigating the problem of infant mortality in the African American community, which is 3 times higher than anywhere else, any other community in the country.
My name is James Williams.
Hey, James.
I work for the Department of Behavioral Health. I'm a forensic veterans peer specialist in the criminal justice system. I work for vets and vet court. Thanks.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Steve Austin. I'm a returning citizen. I'm here today representing Mothers in Charge and also One Click Philadelphia. And One Click is made up of all gangs all across the city. You know, it was founded by Bo Zulu, a brother named Ant, and Bo Morocco. These guys came together and decided to pull all the gangs together in the city, you know, to have one last gang war, what we call it. But it's really us doing what we can to help our young people out of this mess that's happening in the city, but to give them some real opportunities. You know, what we're trying to do is help them understand that there's a better way. And who better to do it than many of us who took something from the community, that's right, you know, as ex-gang members, and what we did, the harm that we did, but to be able to give back. You know, many of these guys are older and elder men, but you know, we're trying one last time to reach our young people. So that's what we do. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna sit down. I got a bad knee. My name is Gennaro Garcia, better known to most people here as Daim. I'm a brother that came from the Russell Plain area, gang member, and I'm like my brother here, Steve. I took from my community when I wasn't aware of what I was doing and the harm that I caused. And I'm here today, you know, first of all, I represent myself and other brothers like me who are tired of hearing of our young men being assassinated in the streets of Philadelphia and abroad. And my brother Stan, I was talking to him and he informed me of what he has hopes of doing in regards to losing his son. And I believe and I support Stan, and I want to, you know, I'm just at the point where I'm tired of being an observer.
That's right.
And I want to be a participant.
That's right. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Bismillah. My name is Hakeem Fulton. I represent Black Captains of West Philly. We try to establish a presence in the community, being my example. I'm also the chair of AA, Alumni Ex-Offender Association. We have membership meetings on the second Wednesday and the fourth Wednesday each month so that we can talk to the brothers and guide them in terms of not doing things that can possibly take them back to prison. I'm also co-founder of Ex-Offender Proof of Change, me and Atiba Kwesi.
Miss One. Just came in, Daryl.
My name is Daryl Clark, from Germantown area. I have an outreach organization called Help Educate Leaders for the Present. I've been living in Philadelphia for 51 years. I'm just about making change. There's too much going on out here, you know. I just believe that I don't know.
Some gotta be done. Some gotta be done.
You know, put them together. Let's, you know, I'm just here to help out.
That's right.
My faith.
That's right.
Thanks, Daryl.
Go ahead.
My name is Tyrone Young.
Hey, Tyrone.
Back in 2008, I started a youth baseball league in North Philly called the Heritage Baseball League. That's been going on since 2008. I've done mentoring things in West Philly with a program called Teenagers in Charge. Started a chess club some years ago, and recently over tragedy in my neighborhood at 12th and Huntington, it was a shooting where a young lady got killed and a young man got killed. And me and some people got together, we started doing a neighborhood thing, and we named it the North Philadelphia Community Roundtable Network. And then when I got a call to get with Stan, that's what we are doing, trying to do down there, is network different people together for our community, for our people,
Yes, sir.
for our livelihood.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. I'm Yancy Herrero. I'm the co-founder and president of the Charles Foundation. Charles is the acronym for Creating Healthy Alternatives, Resource to Less Emotional Suffering. My son Charles was murdered January 13, 2011 in a case of mistaken identity. We have a community resource center in West Philadelphia. We're 605 North 52nd Street. And I'm here to do my part.
My name is Sean Hazrat. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Some of y'all brothers I know. The brothers that don't know me, with Daryl Clark with the Help Organization, helping educate leaders for the present. My mentor is Stanley Crawford, who have mentored me from being a destructive member of the community to becoming a productive member of society. I'm here, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I have a daughter that's in college right now, her 4th year, to become a surgeon. I got some sons that I'm raising to become productive members of society. And these type of organizations, these type of talks, they need to be involved with. They need to hear and see the different side of a black community and what the community is trying to do. So I'm here to help educate leaders for the present. Thank you.
My name is Donald Reese Tiller. I'm Stanley's cousin. I'm a returning citizen. I want to be a part of a collective body trying to make a change within our community.
You next.
My name is Azir. I'm with Sean Hazard.
Welcome.
Can you speak to us?
Hello. Devontae. I am here with Sean as well. First time visitor.
Welcome.
Hello everybody. My name is Mustafa. I'm the son of Sean Hazrat. I'm just here to listen, observe, maybe try and do something for the community and stuff.
Welcome.
I'm Devontae. I'm here on behalf of Mothers in Charge.
Welcome.
Hi,
I come as a friend and avid listener of WRDU and a friend of Fred Stanley's. I live at 12th and Cambridge. Not down that far where you live at 12th and Huntington. There's a lot of activities going on in that neighborhood. You know what I mean? I like to be a positive representative in our community. Thank you.
My name is Henry Carter. I'm born and raised down 30th and North. I'm a member and a representative of the Brothers of Strawberry Mansion. What we are doing in our community is the same thing that everybody else is trying to do. We are trying to fight the problem that's going on in our neighborhood. Because if anybody know about 30th and North, it's really tough down there, and it's really bad down there. So we are here to represent that and make a change in our community also. Thank you.
My name is Matthew Shallard. I met Stanley today at Staples. I'm here on behalf of my sons and my grandson to see what I can do to make it safe for them growing up in the city of Philadelphia.
My name is Rick Ford. Rick Ford. And, I'm just present to be here. I'm the president of the Brothers of Story Mansion. Also the host of the radio show on 900 AM WRD, and the president of the Story Mansion Athletic Association. So I'm present here to be with the gathering. Let's keep it moving.
Greetings, my name is Lucan Abdullah. I'm a board member of Mothers in Charge. It was founded by my cousin Dorothy. I had a little brother and cousin that was murdered on the streets of Philadelphia. And I'm one of the founding members of Forgive Me Not Youth Services, which is an emergency shelter at Broad in York.
Okay, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Reginald Carey. I'm Colonel Carey. I'm a retired veteran after 22 years. Wow. This is my son, Master Sergeant Jalen Carey. He's a future soldier. I am the president of the United Buffalo Warriors Association. We are the first and only veteran organization that is black certified that not only helps veterans, but we mentor to the youth. Along with Sean Wilson and Veterans in the Hood and 2 other organizations, we work in Edison High School. This is our first year there. We are mentoring there, and we're making a big difference and big change. Edison High School is a dumping ground. Okay, so we are there to make a change. And again, I'm here to listen and participate as much as I possibly can, and we're here to give back as much as we possibly can. I have business cards for anybody that wants them or whatever.
Thank you.
You got something next?
Good afternoon, brothers. Good afternoon. Brother Mike Thomas.
Hey, brother
I'm
Mike.
just here to represent the plight of my people. I'm here. I had to step down. I was a committee person for 1340. I had to step down due to heart surgery. But in that time, we were able to close a few bars, and we're still unsuccessful because there's some stop and goes we want to close down now because they drink several shots of liquor besides beer.
Yes, yes.
And that's what I would like for us to have an impact. I figure us brothers should have an impact where we can make our voices stop some things here. And I'm about education too. I'm educating our people, giving us awareness of our real heritage. And when we find out who we really are, what we're really about, we might not cradle this other nonsense like we do, like we have. Okay, I've been going through it for years. You understand? And I'm really tired. I can't do it by myself, because when I did it by myself, I was called a troublemaker. I remember back in the 60s and 70s, they wanted to call rioting a felony. When I got charged with incite to riot, because I wouldn't let a cop pull a gun out on one of my brothers. Okay? So I'm here today in 2019, back with the same thing all over again, because my people matter to me. Okay?
Come on, Mike.
Peace.
Peace.
My name is Brother Gamel Aziz.
Hey, Gamel.
I'm just a black man
trying to make a difference. You know, it's a lot of stuff going on. We all aware of certain situations, and I just want to be a part of the solution. You know, I just want to do as what any black man said, like it says in the flyer. You know, just try to help and be the lookout for our elderly, our women, and our children. You know, like also like the flyer says, ain't nobody coming to rescue us.
That's right.
You know, and
That's
we
right.
going to have to do it. You know, and that's why I'm here.
Peace and blessings, everyone. My name is Cordell Smith. I'm a stress relief consultant and one of the first victims of temple acquiring property at 2100 Marvine Street.
Infinite love and gratitude to every single one of you. My name is Sifu Maury Wright. Sifu simply means one who teaches and turns to martial arts. I'm originally from Norfolk, Virginia, moved here in '76, right? And I happened to land a job in the U.S. Postal Service, from which I retired, in the Department of Human Services, retired as a social worker. I moved to Maryland. And I drive to Philly every Friday to be a part of men's gathering. And it's thanks to a presentation by brother Sean Wilson, I decided to sit here today because I owe something to this city. It was good for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here to give back. All being necessary. And infinite love and gratitude to every single one of you.
Brother Leroy?
Yes, I'm Brother Leroy Muhammad, here representing 10,000 Fearless Philadelphia. I'm also the co-chair of the 10,000 Fearless in the Delaware Valley. I'm here in support of my brother Stan, my brother Kofi up there, and brother Najee, who we've been actively doing things within the last couple of years. I'm also working with the Department of Defense of the Nation of Islam under Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sister Inez. I'm here to support my husband, Brother Stan. I'm a part of Nation of Islam.
Me husband, Brother Najee.
Najee, I'm sorry, Brother Najee. Thank you. I thought everybody knew who he was. We're co-hosts of One Word of the Friends of Farrakhan every fourth Saturday. And we also have Miracle Garden. So we're trying to branch out into the community with a garden. Thank you.
Well,
I am an activist. I am an activist of righteousness and production.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Well, with that saying, again, give all of yourselves a round.
All right.
As I stand here and look out, it's a beautiful thing to see so many people representing so many other people. So I think that we're off to a very, very good start. Again, I'd like to be, I'm thankful to be standing here. Just a moment, again, my name is Kofi Asante. I am very proud to be the executive producer and artistic director for the Juneteenth Family Incorporated as we embark this year for 2019 Juneteenth Festival. The Juneteenth Family presents Victory 400 Grand Parade and Unity Fest in Center City. So we expect all of y'all to be marching with us. It's a beautiful thing. But I also have the privilege of being able to introduce Brother Stanley and Brother Najee as they provide the purpose of why we're here today. Just going to give a couple of more minutes. They told me I could speak here for an hour and a half, but I'm going to keep it down. Stanley Crawford, artist, carver, businessman, father, lecturer, writer, visionary. Brother Najee, a righteous man, standing up for what is right, broadcasting the message every day to the community. So I'm very happy to bring Stanley and Najee as they talk about the purpose of why we are here, and so we can keep this thing moving. Thank you.
All right.
My name is Stanley, brother. Most people call me Brother Stanley. And I thank God for everyone that's here today, because we never know when we are going to be in the position that brought me here and us here today.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, almost 4 months ago, I had a son on the planet, a son that I love very much. I mean, it's like a love that's almost like I can't explain it, but to have a son, man, that I raised for since he was 3 years old, and we had a very special relationship with father and son. And on September the 8th, about 9-something in the morning, while he was going into his sister's house, waiting for her to come to the door, somebody came up and put a bullet in the right side of his temple, shot him in his jaw, and shot him in his chest. So when me and my son was on our way either to my house or to her house, my daughter called me in a frantic. They shot William. And of course, we were on our way there, not knowing whether he was dead or whether he was alive. When I get in front of my daughter's house, I see my son blood on the pavement because they didn't pick him up and took him to the hospital. In my spirit, I knew that he was off the planet. But it's an experience that I personally would not even wish on my worst enemy. My daughter comes down at the bottom of the step and see her brother laying on the ground bleeding with a bullet wound from his head. My grandson, which is her son, comes out and see his uncle on the ground bleeding, and most of, for all intents and purposes, probably dead. You know, that touches my spirit, and the rippling effect that as a result of coming from a loving and caring family, that is still an experience that I am having.
Yes, sir.
I haven't completed this experience. I'm having this experience as we talk. You know, and my son was it was as if I never realized how much of a beautiful smile he had until I started looking at his pictures and seeing his smile. You know, my daughter right now today called me just a few days ago, and the effect is still affecting her, but she don't know what to do with it. And a lot of times I would look at TV news and I would hear about a shooting or a murder, and I only associated that murder with the victim and the victimizer. I never really went past to see how that murder affected the rippling effect of that murder throughout the other people that was associated with the person who was murdered.
Right.
So this really is, and for those who know me, I've always been a part of doing stuff for the community. But this particular experience had me go into a mindset to start to really looking deeper into what was going on with us as a people.
Come on.
You know, and when I look and see is this, something came into my spirit that allowed me to be able to see that what we as black men are doing, we're waiting for the next one to fall. You know, and then they're all falling. You know, since my son was murdered, and I looked and seen that since his murder, I'll give you an example. When I heard about the murder out West Philly of the two sisters that got shot in the head and the two brothers, 4 people getting killed in one setting. 2 of them were sisters. Then a few days later, a 93-year-old man was beaten to death, and a 60-something-year-old person. 3 people got killed by one youth, 23 years old. And then we see our babies getting murdered. And we as black men, I know in our spirit that God put in us that we don't want to sit back and not have something to do.
You see what I'm saying? So as this has occurred, following the spirit, that's why I talked to Najee, I talked to Zachariah, I talked to Yancey, but these is people I know that have had this experience. And what I see is this: if we keep sitting back and not as us as the men of the community come and formulate a coalition, an action plan, this will continue to happen. Yes, and you know, like I was in a press conference about a month ago. People were saying, "I seen you on TV" and so forth. And in my spirit, that's the beginning of the process of us coming together and trying to work together. And if we come together and work together, I truly believe that we as black men can come in and do something that's not being done. And that's what this call out right now is for. This particular session here is for us to try to come together and work together and come up with some action plans that has the potential. And just think about this. I'm serious. I don't know what we're going to do, but I know if we do something, if we could save one family, and we won't know who that family is, but if we could save one family from having this experience, only God knows. But I know from my experience right now, it's worth the shot. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to prolong my purpose. The purpose is for us to come together and try to develop an action plan so we can work together to potentially do something to save somebody. And if we could do that, I think what we're doing, you know, just like the packet that came through me, and I always say this here, and I say this in the most realistic and humble way. Whatever good works we do, once we realize it's coming through us and not from us, then we don't have to be in competition with what good works is manifested. Right. Because if we be honest with ourselves, things come through us and not from us. Because if I think something is coming from me, that's a danger. But as long as I know that it's the Creator, the ancestor, and our children and our people crying out for us black men to get up and do something. I'm going to bring out my brother Najee on. Najee is a brother that I know had this experience. And me and him was on Rick Ford's show, and me and Zachariah, we was on Professor show a little while ago, shortly after my son was murdered. But we working together, and we're going to try to work together to bring something that has the potential of us working together. Like there's people from different organizations here. So it was a mentor of mine, and it make a lot of sense. He told me years ago, he said when you get something new, you don't have to discard the old, you add it on. So if we add all of this stuff together, I believe without a shadow of a doubt, we will make a difference. Najee?
Good job,
Assalamu alaikum. Some of you may not know what I just said. Basically, it says, peace be unto you. And what is the most beautiful greeting that you can ever give? To say, peace be unto you. Not no hello, what's up, what's going on, but Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Najee Muhammad. It's a pleasure to come before you. It's an honor to see so many men here. And one woman. We got some girls back there. We thank them too. Actually, they are the future. And what they're doing, I know what you're doing, Brother Lukman. Brother Lukman, you letting them watch and see what we're going to do. That's why he brought them there. Brother Jamal, assalamu alaikum, brother. I want to give my condolences to this brother right here. His mother just passed. And I want to give my condolences to you, brother. All right? That's a great loss. A great loss to lose a mother. I had lost my mother some years ago. And the bond that I had with my mother was a strong bond, a love that you cannot describe. Love is much stronger than the father love. Because you had a personal relationship with your mother in the womb for 9 months. The things that she had went through, the things she had said, The baby feels all that in her womb, believe it or not. Remember after the Million Man March, 1995, we had a 10,000 men meeting right here in Philadelphia. Remember that? Who remember that? Raise your hand. Uh-huh. And who was there after the Million Man March of the 10,000 men? Okay, we have a couple hands.
Where was it at? Was it in the park?
It was right here in Philadelphia on Broad Street, right at the course. Right. We was all fired up, motivated, ready to go. We heard what the minister said, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He gave instruction. And by the way, it was more Christians at the Million Man March than Muslims. But yet, we had 10,000 men there. And we were waiting for instructions. But the thing is that we didn't really have a good plan. And by not having a good plan, what happened? Everybody just went their way. Because we didn't really have a good plan. And we lost 10,000 men. Right here, we have a good crowd. Some of you may not come back. Some of you may say, well, listen, I've been doing this, man, since I've been born. Fighting against the violence and fighting against black on black crime, man. I'm just going to come to this meeting. I'm going to just hear what they got to say. And if it don't sound good, I'm going to go. But hell, I'm not coming back no more after that. Some of us think like that. And some of us would say, well, when I leave, I'm just going to probably pass the word to somebody else. They want to be a part of that, they can be. That's that same old rhetoric talk that they do. And some of you may not come back. But we have to have a good action plan. But what moves us to make this plan is desire, and what pushes that desire is love. How much love do you have for your people? How much love do you have for black people in this country, of all the suffering that we've gone through today? Just recently, a young woman in McDonald's, she was serving a Caucasian. And it was something that he was asking for that they didn't have immediately. So he caught an attitude. He caught an attitude with the woman and grabbed her. And she started fighting. And everybody that was there didn't do a damn thing but just watch. Nothing. Now, if one of you was there, what would you have done? Think about it. If one of you was there, what would you have done? Huh? No, there's some brothers in here who won't do a damn thing, but just watch. Let's make it real. Let's make it real. Because many of us that's in here, we'll look at it and we turn around and say, I feel sorry for that sister. But how about if she was your mother? How about if she was your sister?
She is.
Well, I'm talking about biological, because some of us don't understand what brother and sister means. But how about if she was your brother, or she was your sister? And what she is, spiritually she is. Because we all gone through the same thing. Just recently, you had another killing. I think it was in Texas. There was a shooting, a white man in a red pickup truck. He came by on the highway and he shot inside a car where there was a black woman and there was a young child, 7 years old. Shot and killed the young girl. They said, well, it was hate crime. Well, damn it, it was hate crime. Let's make it. Let's put the chips where it lay. It was a hate crime. It was a hate crime. So we got issues. We got white people killing black people. Now, let me just stop here for a minute. There was a shooting where a white man shot, 10 people or something? And he was running out, and it was a white man getting ready to do something. He said, don't shoot. White people don't shoot each other.
Yeah, we just showed you to say that. Yeah.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
White people don't kill each other or shoot each other. But he was out looking for someone black just to kill him because he hated him. But we know why most white people hate black people. We have the history of that. And those who like to come and learn about that, listen to the teacher, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It is in the message of the black man. Why do white people particularly hate black people? It's in there. Check it out. But we have the lessons why that is happening. But I wanted to say that when that white man said they kill each other, we don't kill each other. But can we say it to ourselves? Mm-hmm. Can we say it to ourselves? No. Can we say, well, black people don't shoot each other? That's a lie. That's right. Is that a lie? Or is that the truth? That's the truth, right? So what is the issue? What is the problem? There's a principle in life which is called cause and effect. Cause and effect. You have mother in charge. How did that come into existence? It was what? It was a cause and then it was an effect. Is that right? Every organization that is in here, it was what? It was a cause and there was an effect. We have different organizations in here right now. 5, 6, 7, 8 organizations. And we are in here for what? For the same reason. And where's the answer at? I always say the answer is in all of us. But particularly, it is in the womb of the mother. And how we have to protect the woman. That's very important. How we respect the woman, love the woman, and your children is watching you. So number one principle is that we have to protect our woman. Now, I was, Brother Stan asked me to come and be a part of it and join him. I said, listen, I'm an activist righteous. I'm a righteous person who practices righteousness, and I'm an activist. And he said, listen, I'm a part of that. I'm with you, man. 100%. I'm with you. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's make it happen. So we're all here for the same reason. Yet there's different organizations. Like I told Brother Stan the other day, I said, listen, you said, well, some people have said, well, why are you starting this organization? Why don't you just go ahead and join this organization and just be a part of that and let's make things happen? Well, a lot of people, somehow human nature, a lot of people just not going to join certain organizations. Sometimes I like the organization because I like what they have here, the style, I like the gender, what they have here. Oh, that's nice. I mean, don't you like different restaurants? Some of you like particular restaurants, is that right? And some of you may not like, I don't like that restaurant, but I'm going to this restaurant. So that's the same thing with organization. But yet I told Brother Stan, I said, well, we like a body where you have the heart functioning, you have the kidneys functioning, you have the liver functioning. All these things is functioning, but they are all independent to make this whole body work. The heart ain't worrying about what the liver is doing. The kidneys not worrying about what the kidneys is doing. No. As long as it plays its part, it's all right. So even though you have all these organizations that is here, and we have one objective, if we continue to help one another, let's network, let's work together. Now, one of the things that I was saying that what we need too is we need classes. We need classes for the woman, and we need classes for the men. We need classes for the men, how to be men, how to be fathers to their children. We need this. Just the other day, we was at the meeting, and the brother from Camden, he said, you know what, brother? I live in Camden, and that's the worst city, one of the worst cities in the country. And yet I met this young boy, this young man, he said he want to sell drugs. Then he met a woman, he said, well, she want to be a prostitute. Why? Because this is all she see. This is all what he see. So we continue to work, or if we continue to look upon that, well, listen, I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm just going to just go solo, just let it be, whatever it is. No. Every one of us are samples. Every one of you. Every one of you are a sample of what we should be doing. If I ask right now, what is a man? It's more than just one definition of a man. or what is a woman. It would be more than one definition of what is a woman. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to think for a minute, what is a duty of a man? What is a duty of a father? What is a duty of a person who is actually civilized? One of the lessons that we are taught, you said, well, what is the duty of a civilized person? What is the duty of a civilized person? To teach the uncivilized people who are savage, civilization, righteousness, the knowledge of himself, and the knowledge, the science of everything in life, love, peace, and happiness. That whole thing right there. The science of everything in life. Don't you know you can learn something from an ant? We walk by it every day. Ants. But they are the most profound little creatures on the planet Earth. An ant. And sometimes when I see like ants all together, it'll stop me in my track and I'll just look and I'll just watch. And I said, wow, look at this. Look at these little ants. And if you go into if you go Google up ants and how they live, they got tunnels and pathways and bridges. I mean, all kinds of things within the ground. An ant. And yet, we are the most intelligent creatures on the planet Earth. We are the most superior creatures on the planet Earth. And we can't even get things together. So something is wrong somewhere. We have lost something that we need to gain back again. We have lost the nature of what is a true man is, or what is a true woman is. We lost that. And we need to gain that back again. And we need to learn everything of life. Learn about the birds. Learn about the ants. Learn about animals. How animals protect themselves. When an animal kills, an animal just don't kill just to kill. An animal kills because to survive, to eat, to provide for his loved ones. An animal, a tiger, a lion will go out and search for food. And you happen to be a part of that, what he's searching for, you just going to be ate up. But that's the nature of a lion. So what is the nature of you, black man and woman? What is your nature? Who are you? What are you? You know, we have not really used our brains 100%. Don't you know that we are so powerful, we only use 5?
We're only dealing with a certain amount of time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let's see if we can keep it.
I am so sorry. Yes, sir.
Yes,
okay, thank you. I want to say, in my closing, I want to say that we need classes. We need men classes and we need women classes. We need these classes. And I would say maybe once a month that we need to come together collectively, but we have to have an objective as well. All right, so we definitely need class. Don't you agree with that?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Don't you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
I don't really hear you.
Yes,
Don't you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
That we need a men class.
Yes, sir.
And we need a woman class. So let's do that. All right, and thank you so much. And please, we'd like to see you again. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Can we hear it again for Brother Stanley and Brother Najee? I'm sorry I missed most of that. I had to step out and take care of some business. Brother Jamel, God bless you, man. I don't know, did you give him any?
Well, his mother just passed.
Right.
So he was giving you a pass on the day. So we got Raheem that's going to talk a little bit about the
What I wanted to be able to say is that this brother still came out. He lost his mother yesterday.
Yes.
And keep him and his family in your prayers.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I'd like to bring Brother Raheem to the podium. as he talks about our objectives and our goals and our mission.
Good day to everybody that's here. My name is Raheem. You don't know, this is my father, Stanley. And when Stanley spoke, he spoke the death of my brother, his son. First, I want to make mention of this right here, right? I want to make mention of this here. For every man that's in this room today, right? Because I know it's a Saturday, it's raining out there, right? Everybody could have been somewhere else, right? So just the commitment that each and one of you made to get here in this weather and on a Saturday, right? To give this cause your time, that need to be acknowledged and commended, and commended in itself. Like some of the brothers that's here, I'm a returning citizen, right? I was released from prison July the 12th of this year. In that time, which was about 2 months, maybe like two months, a little less than 2 months, my brother was murdered. And me and my brother was close. He's my baby brother. My father and I was together at that time when we got the call from my sister. And I was away for close to 13 years. The condition that Philadelphia is in, right? It's in a state of sickness, right? It's a sickness, but it ain't any kind of sickness. Some sicknesses that we occur, we can call a doctor and we can get an appointment for certain sicknesses. And when that doctor might give us an appointment 3 weeks later, a month later, sometimes, because the hospitals is that busy. Then you got the kind of sicknesses that you got to go to the emergency room, right? Because this illness right here need immediate attention. And this is where the condition that I see our city in, right? At this point right now. At this point, the way that the senseless murders, the murder just isn't about nothing. Which brings us, which basically bring a lot of us to the point in this room today, because we're seeing something right now it's not natural. That's right. We're seeing something right now, right, that it could be any one of us next.
That's right.
The criminal mindset is so rampant, it's so out of control, right? That at this point, I don't know in my lifetime have I seen it this out of control. So it's going to take a collective group of men, right? That's going to make sacrifices like the sacrifices that we made today. Is when we could have been doing something else, that we have to pay attention to this immediate sickness. So with that, right, I'm gonna bring in and introduce, just a piece of our mission statement. Our mission statement for this council. Our mission is to unite the black men in our community for the purpose of providing a clean and safe environment for our women, our children, and our elderly through membership leadership that will embrace our community with presence and resources that will uplift and empower struggling areas of our city. And if this is a mission that you for, if you from the city of Philadelphia, you living in this city with your family, there's a lot of times that I know that we look at the news, we see what's going on, and then we sit back and we could feel just a little bit for these deaths and for these murders. But when you experience it, right, and it hit home, it's a different type of feeling.
That's right.
Right? That you feel when you sit back and say, man, I lost somebody close and I can relate to what I'm seeing on that TV. But after so many times of seeing it and seeing it, we grow numb to it. Then sometimes it seems like it's such a big problem that no one person can sit back and do anything about it. So we do have to sit back and ask and wonder, or sometimes even question, why is the Creator allowing these things to happen?
Right.
But the Creator is allowing these things to happen to bring moments like this, to bring us together, to unify.
Right.
Now, one of the things that qualified me to be up here at this podium is that while I was doing my incarceration, this brother right here, Jamil, myself, we had put programs together in prison, right? That was attacking the criminal mindset. It was attacking the violence, and we was in an environment with the victimizers. You know what I mean? You know, so now as we in there with the victimizers, we had created some things, man, you know, to help them to create some empathy, right, and sympathy, and learn to regret some of the actions. So, as a returning citizen, I know how important that our prison industrial complex is to the men that's returning to our communities. And a lot of times when we go to prison, we up in like mountains and we way outside of our community. So the people that's guarding us or supervising us, we're not returning to their communities. So there's a certain amount of help that we receive while we're inside that had we been they next door neighbors, we would have get a certain amount of help. But because we don't have a bunch of prisons within our community, that when people are doing time, we have holdovers here, which is different than the actual place that after you have been convicted of a crime, and then when you sit back out there, treated, given limited resources. But what happens is we forget about those individuals, right? Because they have like each one of us that's here, we might have people that follow behind us. Like I see a lot of men, right, that might have, you know, they might have kids, sons and nephews and young boys and stuff like this that take after them, that look after them. But so do people in prison. And I don't know what it is, but young folks is fascinated with this prison system and thinking that this is my hero, this is my guy. You know what I mean? You know, that misdirection of these bad deeds qualifying us, you know, to become good role models. The role models is out here. The people that's staying out here that's working. So this is something that has to be changed and redirected. But if we can help bridge that gap between the returning citizens and helping them and bringing them to our cause by reaching out and creating avenues to go in there and talk to these men, I know that that's one of the areas that could affect somebody coming out with their poison and spreading their poison within our community. You know, and I have been one of them people that been to prison, thought it was a good thing to do, built credibility. I came out here and I spread the poison, but I recognize it. So while I was in prison, Jamil and myself, like I said, you know, we had created a program, and we created a program, and we was in New York, and what was unique about this experience is that how so many groups from Philadelphia drove to New York prisons to help us. So as Jamil and I both won appeals to be out here right now, which we would both still be in prison right now, if it wasn't through the appeals and blessings that we had received. But I know Kofi ran up to that prison with his program, you know, and NCCF, and they spoke to us and helped us. I know my father, you know what I mean, you know, he rode all of them women, you know what I mean, and men up to that prison, sat out there while they came into the prison system, and was how many of us, so many of us that's out that was from that program, that there was a lot of lifers.
Everybody except 2 people.
Except 2, and everybody is doing work out here. But that came from them coming up there, supporting us recognizing that we got to do something different than what we've been doing to create, I mean, you know, and then come out here and stand on what we was telling them guys in the prison. So as we do good, and they see us do good, they like, oh, they look at them, you know. So now it's like you're not just talking, you showing them. So, and this is just part of the action that we need and the support that we need unified. Because the problem we got is bigger than just one group. We got a problem, a disease that's so vicious that's within our community. There's no one solution. But the thing that's been plaguing us is that it's so hard for us to sit back and unify all of these groups at once because of the shine, so to speak, the shine. We gotta get past the shine, you know, and and come together and get this job done. That if we don't do it, who else? Who said this? There ain't nobody coming to save us. Oh, Brother Miguel. Yeah. There ain't nobody coming to save us. So with that being said, I hope that we got some questionnaires. I mean, we got some not questionnaires. We got some applications up here because people got different strong suits. You know what I mean? Like everybody has got different gifts. So if you know you gifted in one area, you prefer one area. They got different areas on these applications that you might feel more comfortable, better serving that area. And if you got anything else to offer, please write it down because there's no suggestion that's just a bad suggestion that I know that the council won't take into account of the helping with this problem. And thank y'all for my time. Jamil, you had anything?
Yeah. Greetings, everybody. Greetings. Thank you for your prayers and your condolences. I was released from prison February the 8th, 2018. I had got granted an appeal. I had about 4 years left. And this February would be a year. I remember back in the day when I came home, brothers used to be there to support you. You used to see confetti. You know, people would embrace you. They don't do that no more. Is that Brother Luke mine back there?
Yes, sir.
That brother right there, he probably don't even remember me, right?
I remember you.
Brother Luke mine is a good friend of mine. I remember years ago I came on, I don't even know if you remember this. When I came on, I seen him, the first thing he said was, listen. He said, I just got out myself, but here's what I got. Take this and do what you can do with it. You know what I mean? I never forgot that. You know what I mean? And when I seen you come in, my heart just swelled, and I said, man, that look like Luke Mine, the boxer. You know what I mean? But nowadays, these young brothers, they go to prison and they wear it as a badge of honor. They think it's their rite of passage. And when they get there, 10 years later, they get a phone call, your mother died. Your son got killed. They can't even buy a soup. They ain't even got a bar of soap to wash up with. They don't want to work. But they think that prison is cool. I was sick in the head back in the day. I thought it was cool too. Until one day, one of my best friends, they brought him down from a place called Huntington. And they brought him to Greatestford. And he was like, why am I down here? And they came to him 3 days later and said, well, your mother died. But they brought him 5 hours away to tell him that his mother died. But they wouldn't let him go to the funeral. So now we have to be together. There was a man who had 7 sons, and I'm not going to be long. And all of them wanted to do something together, but they used to always fight. So he put them in a circle and he gave each one of them a stick. And he said, break this over your knee if you can. And all of them broke it. Then he gave them a bundle of sticks tied together. And he said, try to break this one over your knee. And every one of them couldn't. So one of the sons said, well, what's the moral of the story? He said, divided, you can be broken. He said, but together, can't nobody break it. You know, so that's what we want to do here. You know what I mean? If we're going to be about it, be about it. Just like we put our energies into stuff that wasn't good for us, that wasn't good for us. Now we have to put those same energies into something that's positive.
Right.
You know, this brother right here, brother right there, I used to be downtown with him back in the day. You know what I mean? So I know some of the faces in here, I know the dedication because I know these individuals. You know, so I thank you once again. Thank you, Brother Stan. Brother Kofi and Brother Raheem. This was one of my biggest supporters while I was in prison. Used to send me money. You know what I mean? This brother, he used to come up there and get the prison administration hell. You know what I mean? Because they used to treat them bad when they used to come up there. You know, we was in a tank full of guys. Me and Raheem was 2 of the guys from Philly, but maybe you had 30 guys on the compound. 1,500 guys. Me and him came together, put the program together, and the guys from Philly didn't want to go with us. So in the midst of being around a bunch of New Yorkers, right? And we all know how New York is, no offense, right? And they felt like we was in their backyard. And who the hell are y'all to come in our backyard and start a program that gets more shine than anybody?
Yes, sir.
But we didn't want the shine. We just wanted the individuals. We wanted to go to the worst because nobody was knocking down the doors to help us. So what we did, when we created the program, we went through it ourselves to see how effective it was. But then when you have the BOP director come and watch us do what we do, and then give us letters to the judge,
right?
And you have other people to support us, that says a lot. But we didn't even do it for them. We used to tell them, we don't do it for y'all. We do it for us. That's why it's called us helping us. You know what I mean? Not y'all, us. So when we wanted to implement things in there that was conducive to us, our community, they wouldn't let us do it. They told me and Raheem, no, y'all can't do that. Ain't no cameras coming in here. You know what I mean? You can do such and such, but you ain't doing it in here. But now, we out in the free world. So we have free reign. But all we need is the bodies. So once again, I thank y'all very much. Have a good day.
Good job.
Before Brother Stanley comes up and really wraps this up before we get into the Q&A as it relates to our vision, it is wonderful to look out again. Give them young brothers a hand that's leaving out here. It's wonderful to look in the room and see so many leaders. Some bad brothers up in here that are doing great things. Part of what we're doing today is it turned out, I know that my prayer was that the leaders come today. And my prayer has been answered because there's leaders in the room. And part of what we are doing is to be able to create a group of leaders that will be able to steer this in the right direction, because we ain't got all the answers. And if we can develop this, when we develop this black male community council, and we galvanize the energy that's in this room to create an agenda that makes sense to be able to implement into the community. So with that, I'd like to bring Brother Stanley back to the podium as he shares the vision with you.
I'm very excited. I'm excited because of, like Kofi was saying, the individuals in this room today is individuals that I call soldiers. You know, and what I mean by that is that I just did a major event, not I, but a group of us just did a major event. And one of the persons that was a part of the squad that did the event says to those who was present that Stanley called those to do this event because he knew their potential and their diligence to accomplishing the task.
Right.
So those who are in this room today have the same energy and the same spirit, right? Now, what came to me, I was 5 o'clock in the morning, one morning I couldn't sleep because this stuff kept running through my mind. And the name came to me because I looked at it and I say the black male because I did not want the young brothers to exclude themselves, because sometimes you use certain verbiage, that verbiage could get them to exclude themselves. Right. So when you say black males, that includes all males. Right. So that's where the name black males came from. And then when you look at the community, you know, I hear people say that we're no longer a community, we not even now along our neighborhood, but for all intents and purposes, we are a community. And it's the community that needs our help. And also, when you look at the council, a council is a body of people that you come in and you get as consultation.
Right.
You know, so what we need is for the black men, especially black men. We was at a meeting, and I was very adamant about black men in particular being the spearhead of this effort. See, because our women and our children need to see black men standing up and that they could see us. You know, because a lot of us is good people and we're doing a lot of good works and we belong to a lot of good organizations. But where they need to see us at is in the community. And the vision that I have in reference to this particular organization, or this particular arm of us, is just think about it. If you can vision us selecting our 10 hot spots that need attention, and just a vision 50 men committed to that particular one of them 10 hot spots. 50, you know, like we're saying, if I go out there by myself, and I was one of them persons that, and those who know, I would get up on Saturdays and clean the whole block by myself. And I didn't ask nobody because that was the commitment that they did. I made the commitment. But just visualize, we picking 10 hot spots that need some attention from black men. And we go out there 50 deep. Not 20, not 10, not 5, but 50 deep. That means we need 500 men committed to be able to go to these 10 locations with an action plan. With an action plan. Not to go there and stay there for one day and then go back out and not be seen. But we stay there until these 10 locations is stabilized. Now, what does stabilization look like? Number one, is clean. There's areas in our cities where our women, children, and elders move that should not be dirty with able-bodied black men available. So when I look and see these 10 locations, we go in with brooms and bags and shovels and rakes, and we cut the trees and we clean the alleyways and we keep that place immaculate. When our women, children, and elders come out, there's not a piece of trash on the ground. Also, with these 10 locations being manned by 50 brothers, that when they go out in the morning, there's 50, 30, 40 of us moving throughout the neighborhood, making sure the children get to and from school, making sure the women get to work and wherever they have to go. And also the elders can go back and forth to the stores and do what they have to do. Even if we have to go pick up their prescription for it, they know we're available.
Right.
So we provide security. We're not talking, we're actually on post. And like they say, you won't be relieved until you properly relieved.
That's right.
So if you're on that post and you sign up on that post, we expect you to be there. If it's 7 o'clock in the morning to 12 and you're not there, we need to be able to call you in and say what's going on. So we're going to bring you 50 deep. Just imagine it, 50 deep constantly, consistently. And then the young brothers that is moving to and fro, and as we know, we see them, they might be gathering, they might be hustling, they might be shooting crap. Can you imagine 50 of us out there, they hustling and shooting crap? That ain't going to happen. You see what I'm saying? But we're not there to be a threat. We're there to be an assistant. You see what I'm saying? And like Brother Najee was saying, we find a neighborhood, like I was talking to a young brother at the Kwanzaa event from Susquehanna Avenue, where shooting took place a couple of weeks ago. He was very enthusiastic about us coming and doing what we was talking about doing. But can you imagine us being there and having a location where once a week where we can invite the young brothers to come in and have manhood training or manhood discussion.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We could share information with them, and the young sisters in the neighborhood know that they could tell their young brothers, go to so-and-so location because these brothers going to be there giving out some manhood information or some man information. So if we in these 10 different locations, and each location have a facility, that's what we're going to be doing. We have an opportunity to do it. And what I'm saying is here, none of this costs for any money. and we don't have to ask nobody permission. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times what happened is we said we listen in the package that I put. That's why I put in there about the Rite Aid got their own security team. Temple University got their own security. Every the banks got everything have their own security, so we don't have to go and ask nobody, can we secure our women and children? Amen. This is the vision. Also, the mediation. Now, here's an experience that I'm gonna give you guys with my son who just got killed. A lot of these young brothers just don't have no way out. A lot of them don't want to kill each other. But again, if they're moving about with somebody and have a beef with somebody, they know this brother handled their beef with a gun and they know they have a gun. Like my son told me one time, say, Dad, I got to be strapped because if I don't be strapped, they get the drop on me, I'm off the planet. Right? I didn't want him to be strapped, but I couldn't tell him not to be strapped because, again, if that's how they handle their business and you ain't got nothing to handle your business with, you get what he got. You see what I'm saying? But I also realized that a lot of these young brothers don't want to do that, but they have no other recourse. So that's why if we create a mediation committee within them 10 locations that we're going to be going, we can put the word out there. If you have a beef with somebody, go see so-and-so of the mediation community, and they might could be able to squash it. We was talking to a brother up in New York that was in prison with them, Najee and Najee's wife, and all of us went up there. Mike, here's a novel idea. How about creating a relationship with people from other states that we could create sanctuaries so when these brothers do have these issues and they don't want to kill nobody or they don't want to be killed, that they could go up to New York and New York could come to Philly.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So we can, like my son might have even accepted the option of leaving Philadelphia if he knew he had a place to go until we could resolve this issue. Mm-hmm. And this is a true experience. The person who we believe was involved with the death of my son, I actually, before this occurred, sat down and mediated the situation until it popped up again. So some of these brothers don't want to kill each other, but they don't have any options. So what we're talking about here, if you look at the application that we passed out, this application is asking those who present that if there's anything here that we're talking about that you may be interested in being a part of, that you fill out the application, and as we move forward, we're going to take an assessment so we can start filling in these committees and leaders. So at the end of the day, what we do, we're actually coming up with a practical and applicable action plan. And what we mean by that, this is, listen, it's evident that nobody is coming to our rescue.
That's right.
And if we, the black men, and there's another, this here report here. At our next meeting, I'm gonna have a copy to give out to every one of us. This is a report that was done in 1964, and by this Monahan. And if you read this report, you will see back then they knew what was occurring today would occur if the absence of the black man, as absent as we are today, was to occur. And in this report, I read the whole report. I studied the whole report. And if you study this report along with what I put in this package about the Willie Lynch, that's another thing. When you read that part of the Willie Lynch that's in that package, you can actually see that it's in effect today.
That's right.
We have to, as black men, come together, work together, and be a presence into the spirit of our women, children, and elders, that the Willie Lynch process, that we are now coming to undo it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because our women and our children need us.
That's right.
You know, I say this, and I don't say this to be demeaning, but we have to actually examine our spirits when we say we love our babies and our women, and see if our action is according to what we are saying.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I don't care what. Listen, I'm retired. We have different people who have different experiences, different stuff, and everything. I know I could take 4 hours out of my day each day and dedicate it to the security of our women, children, and elders, and help our young brothers get on another path. So this is what this whole concept is about. Not to take away from other people's good works, not to do anything but create a vision of, again, 50 men deep in 10 different locations doing some good works. And so that's that's the vision of what we hope to produce. Now you say, okay, Stanley, how are you going to do that? All we need is a commitment from sincere brothers that really want to do something to help our people. Just like Najee said earlier in reference to the Million Man March. I was at the Million Man March. I was at the 10,000 men called out. I was at these different things. But at the end of the day, I believe that our men, given the right action plan, would spawn into action and do what we're proposing to do. So what we're doing now is this is the first session of a continuous session over the next 6 weeks, so we can develop this plan, develop the corporation structure, develop everything that needs to be done. So when we do the call out to the general public, we're coming with a corporation, an organization, we're coming with an action plan, and we asking those who want to take this action to sign up and be on post. So that's the vision that we hope to be able to do. And it's in my spirit, man, to know that we can do it. And Philadelphia, if we do this and we participate, we can be the template for other people around the country. That's why I say if we do the 10, let's focus on 10. Let's stabilize that. We'll do a evidence sheet to show ourselves that our stabilization plan is working or what adjustments we need to do. But at the end of the day, just think about it. If these 10 locations is clean, security, mediation is being done, and then we look at the statistics and see the effectiveness of it, now we have a template we can move out with. And at the same token, we can assist One Click. We can assist Mothers in Charge. We can assist some of these other structures, the Veterans of Administration. There's a long-range opportunity, but we want to start with this, and then we see how we can grow as black men and show listen, this is 2019 is the 400 year of our captivity here in America. And a lot of us might not be aware of that, but August the 20th, some people say August the 22nd, but we get the minutiae of the date. But we know in 1619, that was the first captivity of an African that was enslaved over here in North America. So if we come together and do what we're doing, we can begin the process of reversing what was done to us and what is being done to us. And that some of this stuff, listen, I'm telling you, some of this stuff that is being done to us is not, the onus is not all on us.
That's right.
Sometimes we charge ourselves, but we have to really look and see what was done to us and what is being done to us to determine the urgency of us as black men to come together, work together, and then show ourselves and show our women, show our children. And I'm telling you, we can do it, and it's up to us to do it. So the bottom line is, this is the application form, and we're not going to stop. I mean, we're not going to stop. If it's something here that interests you, that you can put some time and energy to it, fill this out. We're going to go over this the next week. We'll call you. We're going to have another meeting here next week at the same time, so we can continue to move forward. And the goal is somewhere around the latter part of February, have a big call out, and then we have a move out in the middle of March. Because you don't want to call brothers to come out and work in this cold weather, because they ain't going to do it. So I ain't that stupid. They just say, let's do a winter call out. You know what I mean? But I'm like Kofi. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But before I finish, I would like Zachariah, if you don't mind, to come up and say something, man, because Zach lost 2 sons, and it's only 2 sons. And the last son that he lost, my spirit was so, because we had a special relationship, and Zach know that. Every time I seen him, I call him Trouble Man from the baby on up. But when he lost his son, that did something to my spirit. So again, I would just like Zach to come up. And there's other people in this room that lost children, but I'd like Zach to come up and say a couple of words.
Yo,
Gotcha, bro.
Yo. Legend.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace to you all. Yeah, this is so important. This is the time. I mean, we were 50 Muslims right, this morning for another particular call out at Master Law. Some of your organizations were in there, some of the founders. This morning from 9 to 1, and with the same objective. But it was a little bit more different in terms of this agenda. The objective there was the economic and political strategy that we need to have as legs. So it's all incorporated together in terms of all of the various things that are going on at this particular time. So this is a time that the Creator knew we would be here.
Absolutely.
And that we would be doing these things right now. Just let me just share with you some of my personal stuff as it relates to my losses. And I want to kind of dovetail on what my brother Stan was saying in terms of, this is not all our fault. You know, some of this stuff is systemic for real. And in my case in point, you know, my two sons, the statistic says, in Jawazu Kunjufu's book regarding conspiracies to destroy black young males, volume 1 through 3. Many of you may have read those volumes. It's unprecedented work that Jawazu did back in 1992. But in his statistic, he indicated that from ages 16 to 30, and young males without fathers in the home, young males who have not finished high school, young males who have not had any type of job orientation or training orientation, and who had periodic frequencies with the criminal system. 3 out of 4 of them would either be dead, serving life sentences or long-term sentences in jail, or back and forth as a criminal career. My sons had neither one of those statistics. My sons was the 20%. They had a stable home with a father, a nuclear family, me and their mother, and I have a blended family. They finished high school and they went on to secondary education. They were employed since 8 years old. They ran their own businesses. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing one my logo here, ZNZ Distributors. We've been in business now for over 27 years as the only distributor in the city of Philadelphia, African American. So my sons were working, and my oldest was murdered at 19. In community college, running a business with 2 children. One that was on here in the physical room, and one that was in the womb. So very critical. Because little Ibn Zaki feels that after. He felt even that death of his father in his mother's womb. And my youngest was murdered at 24, and he saw. We were fortunate enough. And me and Stan share a story because we didn't see the murder. Both of my sons were murdered and Allah, God Most High, blessed us not to see that.
Yes, sir.
And so that trauma did not impact us in a way where we had to literally see the murder scene, and all of that came with it. Even though we did have the whole aftermath in terms of the hospital situation and the family being aware of the death and the return of my boys. But that kind of trauma we were fortunate enough to not see. And as a collective, thank God we had the family, and in my case, a whole city, a Muslim community, that lifted us and you know, shielded us and gave us that covering, so to speak, and comfort that a family needed at that particular time. But my baby boy witnessed his brother and did not want that to happen to him, but it did. 8 years later, from the date of his brother, he was a victim of this senseless, rapid, I don't know what to call it. It's a disease, like right here, it's a sickness. It's definitely a sickness. It's a crazy sickness. And he so desperately tried not to fall in that kind of pathway or that pattern. And with all of those circumstances of having to have to carry because the other and the peer pressure and all those things and I want to share this in terms of, and then I'm gonna conclude. In both my situations, my oldest son was protecting his cousin, who was like a sister to him, and whose baby's father kept beating her up. So my oldest was not having that. So in that particular situation, the baby's father was the murderer of my son in retaliation of my son reprimanding him, beating up his sister, his cousin. We found, and we found out, thank God that our situation was solved through
court system.
Through the court system and through my brother Tariq El Shabazz and so forth and so on, and the detective was able to find that out, and our empathy and sympathy when we found this out, because it was found, we chose not to go through the court system, and because 2 families was lost. And at the time, you know, my son had a gun on him, protecting himself, so it was that kind of a situation. So we asked, the family asked us, and we decided to just give them 15 to 30 and not do a life bid. That was the mercy, and our names are Abdul Rahmans, that we not only for us, we had to forgive, but for the family. This young man was the father of my niece's baby.
That's a hard situation.
And my youngest son was murdered protecting his friend in the street. There's a beef in the street over sides. And his friend tried to give up that life and come to this side of the tracks. And my son gave him refuge with a job, the whole nine, and sheltered him, so forth and so on. And the perpetrator, shooting at the one that he was at, hits him 3 times. And my son gets hit, and this young man survives. And my son gets hit with a straight bullet. And he's the driver of his vehicle. He's in his own car, going to the gym. He gets hit with a straight bullet to the head. So again, you can't even imagine or picture these circumstances, because it's a part of a systematic or systemic issue that is sick.
Right, culture.
It's in the culture.
Yeah.
And so we have an opportunity, and I'm going to conclude with that. We have an opportunity. There was meetings this morning that's going to address the economic and political strategies that we need. This is going to address, and I'll leave with this quote. Imam Muhammad said that a people who allows themselves to live in squalor and filth is an uncivilized people.
Wow.
And that's us. Because if you look at many of our communities, and that's why what we do in Nicetown is so important. And we started, just like what Stan has indicated, we started from a clean, safe, and beautification strategy that eventually led to an economic campaign, an economic development campaign. But it started with the clean, safety, and beautification and security piece first.
Right.
So we're on the right path. Thank you for allowing me to share.
We do have some refreshments that we're gonna have out here, but the most important thing I believe for this gathering that we had now is for those who understand what we're trying to do and those who wanna assist in what we're trying to do, please fill out that application so we can have a communications and we can move forward. Kobe asked me to remind you guys what is happening into our community with our young people. There's a lot of demonic energy that is manifesting into their spirits. And if we leave that demonic energy amongst us, it's like a virus, it's gonna mutate. And as it mutates, it multiplies. As it multiplies, it's gonna continue to do what it's doing to us. So this purpose that we come together, please fill out that. And we're gonna be meeting here every week for the next 5 weeks. And we're gonna have committees. And we're not gonna micromanage. If you get on the committee, the chairperson of that committee gonna work together within that committee, devise the action plan. And when we come out, we coming out hitting the ground running, and we coming out doing positive and constructive actions. Okay, there's we have anybody have any questions question and answer that for what took place today, or want to say anything, or have anything? If not, go ahead.
My name is Diane. I have a question, and also, this is a wonderful thing to start 2019 off. You and I talked extensively about what you wanted to do and what I felt as though that this was a calling from God for you to lead the people who believe in you, knowing you as an individual that's serious, that's committed, because I know that anything like this not only requires commitment, but it requires courage. This is not for the faint at heart, and you talking about going into communities, and I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about a conversation I had with my youngest son. I used to sell movies at 29th and York at Ace Jack Cashin Place, and my son lives in Winfield, and he saw the condition in that environment, and he said, "Dad, why is this area so dirty?" And I said, it's because the people who live in the environment just don't see it as a priority. My neighborhood isn't like that, but my brother's neighborhood is like that, so I'm a part of that, And that happens so much, like a lot of our people they get jobs and are successful, move on to other areas, and forget about the plight that's going on where we live at. I might not live in North Philly, I might not live in Nicetown, and my area might be a better area, but that gives me no reason not to want to come back and help and participate in this. So my question to you is, you saying we're meeting here every week at the same time?
Well, yes. Rochelle Blau had offered us this building as long as we needed and as long as we wanted. And as a working body, we're not coming to just regurgitate here from here on out. We coming here as committees. We have the upstairs and the downstairs. And as we working as committees, we're gonna be helping each other, assisting each other to make sure that these committees get the support that they need, and with a finalized action plan from each one of these committees. Like we was having a conversation, this is a black man movement or effort. So as much of the finances that we can get from being self-supporting through our own contribution, that's why we have a fundraising committee. because we're gonna need funds. We're gonna need to have the ability to go get our brooms, our shovels, our rakes, our power tools. And then even if somebody in the community need to come to us and say, listen, our baby is hungry, I need some money, we want to also have the capacity to do that. So we're talking about putting these here committees together as an action committee. So when we come out of this cocoon, we coming out a full butterfly, flowing around the community, looking like what we should look like. Strong black men building back up our images, number one, and doing the work, number two. You see what I'm saying? So yes.
Thank you, Stan.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Let's get it done.
100%.
Question in the back?
I want to thank you for inviting me and reaching out to somebody else who reached out to me. Because after the death of my neighborhood at 12th and Huntington, these are the things that we put on the table to clean up the neighborhood, to do this. So that's the networking that I see y'all doing that I want to be a part of. And you talked about the Million Man March, I was there, the 10,000, I was there. But after the 10,000, I didn't see the action plan. That's what I was already doing, like you said. I was already doing something, but I didn't see them moving forward. But now I see something moving forward.
Right.
Well, one of the things that I see them didn't do, I think we can have harp on is when we introduced ourselves, everybody is doing a little bit of this. So maybe we can, before we sit down where you talked about the committees. That's what we're gonna need. We know how the committees work. But introduce ourselves to each other. We can sit down, just 5 people. Where you from, what you doing, and where your neighborhood at, so we can get to know each other
So,
on a personal level, and then we can grow as black men, because now I know this brother.
great.
I've seen him before, I didn't know he lived at 12th, even though I messed with somebody down in my neighborhood, but I didn't know him. But now I can introduce myself to him, and when I see him, that black man and black man can grow together.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So let's introduce ourselves when we get here to find out who we are, where we from, and what can we do.
Great. And also, that's on your sheet, there are suggestions, there's suggestions. But also be able to fill out those suggestions. So what we're going to do as a steering committee and as a steering and development committee, we're going to take your applications, we're going to look at them, particularly even those suggestions, and then be able to make a concentrated process so that those things that you're just suggesting in terms of when those committees meet, that there's a process for you to get to know each other, that when we sit down and we start to move this piece, that people will understand what your objectives and your goals are, so that the outcomes are smart. And what I mean by that those outcomes are attainable, they can be successful without
Stress.
thank you, that's a good word, without stress. Question, yes, brother.
How you doing? My name is Ryan. I got a question because I heard the action plan about going to communities, 50 men. I wonder if y'all got an action plan to give, because y'all gonna serve a lot of pots when y'all going to these communities, and when y'all do, them young guys that's trying to provide for their family like we know that they are trying to do, they're gonna get an attitude. And do y'all got an action plan to give them alternative work outside of that? Because then the enemy not gonna be the people that's trying to stop them from selling the drugs that's got the blue shirts on, they're gonna be us. And we gotta show them that we're not the enemy. And we also gotta give them an alternative. If we don't give them an alternative, we gonna try to beat between our own people.
That's great. See, our goal is short range, medium range, and long range, right? So we're not coming with just a short range goal. And we do have a action plan to address exactly what you're talking about, because our model is always this: you cannot tell a hungry stomach not to feed itself. And you can't come and just give philosophical, be philosophical with any meat to it. So we do have a social program, but we're going to start by demonstrating to ourselves, number one, and to the community, and to those who might be taking a look at us, that we are sincere as black men. And the easiest way to do is first clean it up, secure it up, and do what we're doing with these 4 steps that we're doing here. And we do have a plan to address that aspect of the services that we know our people need.
All right, can I ask this
Yes,
question?
sir.
I don't know how fast y'all talking about putting the 50 men out there. but I believe that we have the wherewithal to make that action plan for alternative resources for the ones that's on the drug in the community to coincide and be a part of that agenda, because it's not going to work when they trying to feed their kids and you keep talking about you trying to clean up and get them off the block. They're not trying to hear that.
First of all, let me, can I say
So I
something?
definitely want to be a part of that process.
Okay, great.
And we need your input.
Absolutely.
But we're approaching this without being confrontational. Right, one of the things that.
All I want to say is, I'm sorry.
I'm just being real with it.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, I'm in the community, I've been doing my community work for 7 years. And I got the kids with me that want to shoot. They with me.
Absolutely.
So I know their mindset. So I understand the approach. It might sound like, okay, we're going to show some love and we're going to get them, but they need an alternative. They don't got it. Immediately, they don't got it. They're going to go right back to what they know.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
So I want to be a part of that process of creating these resources because.
Did you fill out your paper?
No, I don't have no pen, but I'm
Give
going to
that brother
answer that. That's the easy
Give
part.
him
That's the
two.
easy
Give him
part.
two pens.
No, I'm here.
The reason-
So I
the reason-
what's your name?
No, I want
Ryan
to answer your question.
His name is
brother.
Ryan Harris.
All right, just like this organization's here, there's other organizations out there right now that are providing those type of services that you're saying that a guy with a gun need. I got a brother that's a few blocks from here, got a whole center to teach him how to do different things, to provide a different alternative to what it is. But what it is, how we get them to get there, is the consistency of what everybody in here has been talking about. And the more consistency of everybody in here beyond us are willing to do. Okay? It's there. All it has to be is an open dialogue between the two. Once that come about, all the services that you're talking about and the services that we're willing to provide will come into fruition. You just can't walk into a guy and tell him, "Look, man, get off the street. I got this job for you." I got a job for you because everybody's But the concept of what you're asking can be done, and that's why they're asking for everybody to come to the table and bring the resources that you have to the table. That's why those things can be formulated. Because everybody in here right now may have do some work, but everybody can't walk up to a 15, 16, 17-year-old guy. And, we in here, we talking amongst ourselves, but on the street, they don't know how to talk to one.
Right.
So we can't say that we got a job. That's you. But we talking about outside of you. We're talking about more people being involved. Everybody don't have that job or that conversation or that swagger to be able to get the recognition from a young man to be able to converse with him to get him what he needs.
That's why
it's going to take. It's going to take everything that we're trying to put together, and it takes time. Because if you rush out there, you haphazardly doing things, and you end up back at stage one. So what they're trying to do right now, and I commend y'all on it, because I've been around for a minute. You know what I mean? That this is what's going to happen. And all you got to do is those groups them young men that's with you, the first thing you teach them is sabr, patience, because it's coming. We're coming. But if we force them not to have that, then they won't have a chance to understand what we bring to them. They won't have an understanding to move forward. So let us do what we do and be a part of it, and then watch what happens. You need to talk to somebody, you can rap with me outside of this, and I can give you some alternatives on who you need to talk to help where you're at right now. Thank you, I appreciate that.
No. All I was going to say is that. Only thing I was going to say is that, and again, let me stand. And I don't want to believe because I know I had some things to do. But there are. Number one, I'm a veteran. Number two, I worked in the State Correctional Institution at Gratisford. And number three, I did 20 years in the Philadelphia Police Department. I did 15 years undercover narcotics. And I've done police athletic league and supervised over 26,000 kids in the city of Philadelphia. So what I'm saying is, just like Ryan said, Ryan is one of my young men that is working with me right now. And the reason why he's here is because I called him. Because these young guys, it's just like Brother Raheem said, these young fellas ain't got no time and no tolerance for no whole lot of this. And it's just that. It's just that. It's it's not even about walking up and doing a sucker punch game to old people no more. They lay you down. And so we have to make sure that we have these committees in place with younger gentlemen like Ryan who I've seen in 3 days. I'm gonna tout on him because in 3 days, this young man stood at Broad and Huntington Park and raised $30,000 for a center for his kids. So what I'm saying is, yes, sir. So we have people that, you know what I mean, that's going to, like himself and your brother that was sitting right here with me, and as well as myself and those other gentlemen that's from Thomas Edison High School. We have to have people that are at that level, on that level, with these kids, because if you're not with them, then you're against them. Period. Point blank.
No, we hear you. Excuse me 1 second.
Yes, sir.
We hear you very loud and clear.
Yes, sir.
Right. We just want to make sure that we have all your information.
I wrote it down.
One of the differences here, and I really got to give Stanley his kudos for his vision
Yes, sir.
and his ingenuity. We know we didn't want to bring anyone together or bring people together without you understanding that we have a plan. One of the issues with the Million Man March, one of the issues with the 10,000 gathering, nobody had a plan. Now, at the end of the day, I remember this very clearly because at the National Comprehensive Center of Fathers, we went to the 10,000 men gathering thick. Went there thick. Went in there, and when the deal went down and they separated us, we went to the doggone different meetings, and the dude turned around and said, well, you're going to do town watch. I said, you got to be kidding me. Now, the police commissioner at that time, his response was, well, you guys can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this because it will be looked at as you are vigilantes. Nobody stood up in that leadership forum for them and said, get the fuck out of here. Right? There was brothers that came there that were ready to do the work. Just like there's brothers that came in here today to do the work. So we've gathered your information. The turnaround time is going to surprise you in terms of how quickly we're going to respond to you. We have a plan, and that plan is an action plan that we've taken into consideration in terms of what we need to do because we know who we're dealing with because it's just a reflection of who we are. So I just wanted to be able to say that. And if there's any more questions, we'll take a couple more questions and then we're going to close. Yes, sir.
Peace and blessings. I just want to say, move forward, you have to reduce stress. And what I've been teaching everybody I'd like to promote is called 5, 5, and 15, especially for the older people. It's 5 minutes of the best moment in your life. And 5 seconds of whatever's bothering you mentally, physically, or spiritually, and you do that for 15 rounds. And that 5 seconds will no longer bother you. I tell people, if somebody tells you bad news and you feel bad, you're the same person you were before you heard the news as after, but we're just trained to feel bad. So this is going to reverse the process. To have that 5 minutes, the best moment, which can change during the 15 rounds, but the 5 seconds has to stay the same because you're going to remember it, but erase the negativity that has on the body, the physical body.
Okay.
So just pass that on, please.
Well,
5, 5, and 15.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, how are we going to implement being a black male into this whole process? Because I think that the core of it is we're going to have an identity of what a black male is for us to be able to work off of that. Because it can't just be ethnicity. It's going to have to be spiritual, and also I think that it's going to be important for us to identify as black males that we have certain enemies, whether it be enemies of habit or thought, physical enemies, spiritual enemies. Because I think the entity of a black male is central to this, right? So how are we gonna train, implement the training and say, well, a black male is, because we're gonna have to create a certain type of man to deal with the situation that black men deal with, or black males deal with. So how are we creating this man?
The answer to that question is this. When we do our call out and we on post executing this plan, that would determine your black manhood, if you ask me. See, we in these edifices, we in these schools of higher learning, we in these masjids, we in these churches, we in these jobs, we in the sports, but we ain't out in the community being a present so our black manhood can be developed. You can't tell a young black man to be a black man and he never seen a black man. It's a difference between being a male and being a manhood. Now, we are all born males. It's what we do and what our actions to determine whether you elevated from being a male to being a man. And that's why if you look and see what is written in there about most men take care of their women, children, and elders. If we're not doing that, we have to question our manhood. We might be males, but have we elevated to being a man?
Right.
And when we out there cleaning them streets, and our children and our women and our elders is moving in a clean environment, that's what men do. So let me finish. When we out there securing our women, children, and elders to move to and fro in the community, that's what men do. When we are providing a service to our young men to help them transfer from being in this state to a man state, that's what men do. So what we saying to ourselves right now, we have to question ourselves, are we men or are we males that's elevating to being men? Our job right now is not to qualify a person right now. Our job is to get an action plan, move out on the action. Whoever move out with that action with us, I'm identifying myself as a man when I do what men do.
Okay. Can I just real quick? We were the same page.
No, go ahead.
What I'm saying is that black men have a different history and experience than any other men. And how we're going to incorporate our history and experience into the training. Right. So that it lives in us, so we understand our circumstances.
If you look at let me answer the question.
Yes, sir.
The question is on your interest and number 5.
Okay.
If you look at number 5, on the application, it says education, breaking the chains of psychological slavery, and manhood training.
Right.
So, if that's an interest, then you check that off. You check that off, and then when we develop these locations where we're gonna be inviting the young men and males of the community for this 1-week session that we're gonna be conducting, at that session, that's where we're gonna be talking about literacy, breaking the chains of psychological slavery, stress reducing, like the brother was talking about that, and manhood training. Most people don't understand the difference between Naeem Akbar saying in one of his books. He talks about the male and the man. And a lot of us haven't elevated to manhood. We're under the delusion that we are men, but we haven't really did a gauging to determine whether we are or not. Okay.
Got one more here.
You got one more question?
Got one more question.
This is the last one. First of all,
And give respect.
I'd like to say thank you because this is long overdue.
Yes.
The main thing is consistency.
Yes.
We talk all that stuff and we didn't do anything. For me, as being a psychologist, you can tell a man by the responsibility that it takes on in his life, because that separates the men from the boys' responsibility. And as we begin to do, and people seeing us do the same thing on a consistent basis, they then will say, yeah, they're serious about what they do. We have to show that, and for people to understand, like my man was saying, that the enemy is the enemy. I'm my own worst enemy. And just because you think it doesn't make it so. I'm a man. No. Let's see the qualifications. Just like I said, I'm a plumber. They say, okay, give me some experience on what you did. I worked with my uncle for about 2 days. Well, that ain't no experience. This is what we're doing now. This separates the men from the boys for men to finally stand up and do what they need to do, that the Creator has blessed them to be, a protector and a maintainer of their wife and their children and the old folks. Time tells. Let's see what we're going to do.
All right. Okay. We thank everybody, and we hope we see everybody that's here today next week on one of these committees.
Same time.
And we'd like to thank Sister Rochelle Bilal and the Garden Civil League for inviting us in their house.